the Niners usually are as good as their running backs are. They're a run-first team. And I went and counted. The Niners have had 9 running backs get injured under Kyle Shanahan. Now, running backs get hurt, but it's like every single running back he's acquired has gotten injured. And I'm just going to name them. Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr., Ty Davis-Price, Raheem Mostert, Jerick McKinnon, Trey Sermon, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, Alfred Morris. Every single running back he's acquired gets hurt. The only guy who made it through a 16-game season was the one guy he didn't acquire and the guy he got rid of. I'm not blaming him, but it was Carlos Hyde. And I think what we're seeing is durability with a running back is a trait. And it's something you value or you don't. Frank Gore went like a 6-year stretch missing 1 game. Durability was a trait he possessed, surprisingly, after his college years. Kyle doesn't seem to value it because he just gets guys who are small, runs them like they're 240 pounds, and when they get hurt, he's like, next guy up. I think this is a problem. What do you think about the never-ending list of running backs who get hurt in this team?
I guess 10 if you want to count Trey Lance, since they're running him like a running back, so that's the 10th one right there.
That's a good point. And then Debo, when that happens, sorry, but it's inevitable if they play him that. The
way it's going to feel like, the way the season's going already.
Yeah.
It's always there's got to be some type of I said this last year when all the injuries were kind of starting to happen in training camp. It's like, look, man, it's the fact that so many are happening. We just not saying that it's Kyle's fault because a lot of the injuries are freak accidents.
It's football. It's freak. Yeah.
You have to look under them. At some point, the questions had to be, what's going on here? Are they evaluating?
What's the common denominator? Sorry.
So yeah, that's why at least the question I've been saying since last year, you got to ask the question, what's going on here? Kyle, what are we doing to address this? Is it the way you're running them? Is it the players? Is it your training staff again? What is it? Because I know you look at every team, injuries are always like a part of it, but yours is up there. Yours is like the upper echelon of injuries. You guys are like the bougie of injuries where you just get them everywhere. And there's something that just needs to be asked and questioned over and over again. And it's something I think they're just giving up on because no matter what, it's just going to be accounted for. Oh, well, that was a freak accident. Someone fell on this guy's leg. Oh,
it's football.
Yeah. What is it? Whatever it is you guys are doing. I mean, remember last year when Tarvarius Moore and Justin School went down to injuries on back-to-back plays? Whatever. In the same practice. That was the one where I was like, what is he doing here? What is the issue? And the fact that you were withholding George Kittle, Nick Bosa, and other players from practices means like you think you run him too hard, you run your practices too hard, or because clearly the way you limited Kittle, it didn't really matter. He still hurt himself. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. Something needs to be looked at and just figured out because I'm not sure how the hell he's going to figure out the way to get surgery, but it's just something that he does or is not doing at least.
Well, his dad had the same thing. I mean, he got his running backs injured all the time. Terrell Davis didn't make it very long. I mean, he went through and he was always, he can just keep finding these guys. Mike Anderson, Olandis Gary, and they all get hurt. And I think at a certain point, what the Shanahans will say is it's football. Yeah, but at the same time, I got a new nickname for you, Kyle, the common denominator. You are the common denominator. It's year 6, and there are clear patterns on your team. The quarterbacks get hurt all the time. The running backs get hurt all the time. And it's clearly more than the rest of the league. You're at a higher frequency than the rest of the league. So if all you can say is, I don't know, it's a fluke, then you don't have the answers. You don't have the solutions. Someone else needs to find them. If you can fix it, then you're a good one. That's what I'm saying. And no one's trying to fire you yet, but dude, you're not going to make the playoffs if Jeff Wilson gets hurt and Jordan Mason gets hurt. You got to figure out some way to keep these guys healthy. And that applies for Debo too. And it doesn't seem like you really are going out of your way to keep your ball carriers healthy when you just run them between the tackles as much as you want in really low reward situations.
And if you want to dive further on the quarterbacks, I know Berther got hurt before. Did Mullins also get hurt at one point too?
Oh, he ruined his I was about to say, had to get Tommy John surgery. Yes.
So, I mean, look, what are we doing here, man? At some point, there is something fishy here. Again, it's either something he's doing or not doing, which is trying to figure it out. Or at this, because too many times it's like, oh, well, Jimmy's injury prone. It's like, okay, that's fair. But what about Trey Lance? He barely stepped in the league. Oh, he's clearly injury prone too. I mean, look, there's a certain aspect of, he's injury prone, but what are we doing to try to negate that or reduce that? Or clearly there's nothing because we're over here running Trey Lance into the ground We're over here running the running backs into the ground. We're not trying to figure out ways to keep them, refresh them in terms
Yeah.
of the committee, which I thought we saw in 2019. That's kind of what they did.
Yeah.
And even 2019, like you said, Coleman, all those players suffered injuries or were gimped up at some point.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is like when the Niners lose, they often beat themselves, and they beat themselves because of penalties and mistakes or just injuries. And what to me, like that all falls under preparation. Preparation. And Kyle, you could like you could love his playbook or whatever, but he doesn't seem to do a great job of preparing his team. Now, they've made it far a couple of seasons, but they start slow. They get injury. They have a lot of injuries. They constantly have a lot of penalties, and when they lose, they beat themselves. But they're very talented, and so they're an enigma. They have a great defense. They win a lot of games, but they have these constant issues of preparation and sloppiness that go back to the coach. 9 injured running backs? Dude, figure it out, man. Figure it out, because it's going to happen to Jeff Wilson and Deebo Samuel if you keep doing the same stuff.
I remember John Lynch said something, not this year, last year's, after last year's draft, the 2021 draft, he had mentioned, someone asked a question, one of you guys asked a question saying like, hey, Kyle, we noticed this year, like you took a lot of players who finally didn't have, this is the cleanest injury history of your draft class you've ever drafted. And he said, yeah, well, after last year, I think we looked at ourselves and we figured, all right, this is one step to take, or one of the things, we'll just stop taking anyone, we red flagged anyone with a major injury or anything lingering, stuff like that. And I'm wondering if they also didn't, like, I know 2020 was a huge debacle, but also like maybe like other players who were already injured, they took care, like Kinlaw. Who else was already mentioned in that? But whatever, the point of it is that they had to start from the ground up, and the way the ground up is the rookie class by keeping someone clean. But so far it's not working because Elijah Mitchell is already banged up. It's just a never ending like cycle at this point. It's almost like, is it gonna end at some point? I think not.
I just don't feel like Kyle really values durability from his running back spot. He drafted Ty Davis Price this year. Ty Davis Price barely played in college. He had 1 year last year where he had 200 carries. He finished college with 379 carries. He never proved that he could be durable. Same with Trey Lance. Okay, so he wants to use Trey Lance as a running back. Trey Lance ran the ball like 180 times in college. Jalen Hurts ran the ball more than 600 times in college because he played 4 years. He was in the SEC. He had proven that he could run the ball against the best athletes in college and stay healthy. Trey hadn't proven that. He hadn't proven that. Like, none of the guys that Kyle gets have proven things like that. And he's like, here we go, 20 carries, here we go. And if you get hurt, it's like, hey, it's football, next guy up. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we're seeing the pattern. Yeah.
You just got me thinking. You're on the money on that, and I think Kyle doesn't necessarily view player durability; he views positional durability. Yeah. And last year, and the fact that the Ty Davis Price selection is a testament of that, I think, because last year, this time last year, the running back room fell off. They were running Trey Sermon, and then they were picking up random Bo Scarborough off practice squads. I think they were picking him up, or whoever. So he views positional durability. Look at the quarterback room. Why do we bring Jimmy back? Because we have the best quarterback room. Now we're in case, like, it's not just specifically just all the scarring of all the injuries throughout the years. I think he's always viewed positional durability. 2019, Matt Breida came off a good year. We got Tevin Coleman familiarity. Maybe Moser can be in there. It's just positional durability that he views. That's why they've always, with wide receivers, and even on the defensive side of the ball too, as well.
I also think he and his dad are really comfortable using the injury excuse. I think they feel like, hey, man, if a running back goes down, it's football. They can't blame me for that. Whereas a lot of coaches are like, man, I need to keep my best players healthy because I got to win. And if they go down, no one's going to care if I said I had injured players. But the Shanahans are quick to be like, well, my guys were hurt. Well, why were they hurt? All your guys are hurt all the time. I mean, are you responsible for that? And he's like, no, how could I be responsible for that? It's football. I think they're just too quick to use the injury excuse. And if if Kyle tries to use that this year, if they miss the playoffs, I don't think people are going to feel it this time. Year 6, I don't think so, man. I don't think you get that excuse this year. So you got to find a way to win without Trent Williams and Elijah Mitchell and all these guys that you couldn't keep healthy. And it's not your fault, right? Okay, fine. Well, find a way to win. And don't get any more guys hurt. Otherwise, Sean Payton might be here next year.
Is
Ken
George
Dorsey.
Kittle the only one he treats a special limited limited availability in practice.
Trent Williams.
Okay, that's fair. He's up there in age, and come on, does he really need to practice?
But no, hold on. Did Trent Williams look like he was in top tier football shape the first 3 games of the year? I didn't
actually
think so.
No. He kind of looked bad in the Bears game.
He didn't look like the best player in football, which is what he looks like when he's in top tier football shape. And now
who knows if it's the shape or it really is like the start of a little bit of decline. He is up there.
True. But again, Kyle talks about football shape, right? It's a real thing. Just lifting and being in good physical fitness doesn't make you in football shape. And that's why training camp is important. That's why Brandon Ayuk seems like he's on the verge of a breakout year because he's in football shape. Debo's getting there. Kittle is not there. Armstead is not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you miss all this time. You got it. It takes time. Kinlaw's there. Kinlaw's in great football shape. He was there all the training camp. Eric Armstead wasn't. Givens was. Mm-hmm. Givens is killing it. That's the thing about football, man. It really doesn't matter what you did last year. What did you do this offseason? Yeah, it doesn't matter what you did last year. What did you do this offseason? Are you in football shape today? Are you healthy today? And can you keep that going for the whole season? Some people can, some people can't, but it doesn't matter what you did last year. That's why there's so many, like, the teams that are good from year to year, there's very little overlap. Like, Miami, Phillies, I was like, yeah.
I think it's also the drawback of not playing your guys in preseason. Using your first 2 to 4 games as preseason.
Well, you're gonna lose.
Last year too. So it's like, hey, the Shanahan offense is a slow start. Well, I mean, look how he's using his players in preseason. It's like, and I don't blame Kyle for that either, because it's like, well, you're an idiot because you played your starter so long in the preseason. And it's like, I'd rather, that's a tough spot I would find myself in, and you're really a pickle. And I honestly don't feel any huge criticism out of my end that's a say, because that really is a hard choice. Do I run this guy and risk him getting injured and look like an idiot for playing him, or do I just try to let him try to catch up in the regular season and let him actually get hurt when it matters?
But you know what makes him look stupid, Kyle? Losing 2 games in the first 3 to 2 of the worst offenses in the league, Chicago and Denver. Denver has a good defense, but whoa, their offense is bad. And same with Chicago, and you lost to both of those teams. Like, the schedule isn't as hard as we thought it was going to be, but it's going to get harder than Chicago and Denver.
Yes.
I'm just saying. You're going to actually have to face – this defense is great, but it hasn't gotten tested yet, to be fair. They're not going to keep every team to 9 points. Like, some teams are going to put up points on this team, especially late when the offense is doing nothing. Take a couple questions.
They should kind of be 3-0 in a way.
Of course they should be 3-0. They beat themselves twice, but they tend to do that. David the Prankster says, I know the solution for the Niners quarterback, Taylor Pepper. I think it's Tabor, but who cares? Sorry. Should have said that. Taylor Pepper said his long snaps are longer and more accurate than Jimmy's passes. Also be interesting to see a quarterback in a 3-point position with his back to defense throwing. That's pretty funny. Like, could Tabor Pepper snap it to himself? I guess you'd have Brendel snap it to Tabor, and then he would snap it. I think that's pretty good. I like it, David. AK Niner says, it's all about matchups. With the depth we have on defense, we play the players who match up best with the opponent.
Is he talking about Yumdor?
Yeah, okay, well then play Samuel Womack this week, if that's the case. Because he matches up better with Kupp. S. Carter. Does Jay-Z, did Jay-Z just become? I think he did. Big fan. Kyle with running backs is like the doc who took out Tyrod. Ooh.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Like, you're just starting. Reminds me about our Anthony Lynn topic. It's like,
good luck, dude.
Look, this is the same guy who wanted to start Tyrod over Justin Herbert. So, right. I mean, if he's has an ear on anything more than the running back situation with Kyle, then it's no shock why, anything else with that situation isn't working so well. Like, people try to credit, look, he had Tyrod Taylor with the Bills. He helped Justin Herbert. No. Let's remember now. He didn't want Justin Herbert. He wanted Tyrod Taylor. And it wasn't until a needle poke that took him out of the game and forced his hand.
Man, if you're the starting running back for the 49ers, I always want to, dude, I'm praying for you. Good luck. Hope you're okay. Godspeed.